So I'm here at the first ever Swedish Climate Assembly. And with me I have Professor Markku Rummukainen, and you're an expert in climate systems and climate modeling. And you're one of the researchers who have been tasked with informing the Swedish Climate Assembly. So how did you approach this task?
Well, I tried to sort of summarize the very basics from the natural sciences facets of climate change, how the climate system works, how it responds to emissions, how it makes climate change and why it's important to us, but also discuss a bit about how we know what we know, the methods in science of measurements and modeling, so that sort of provides information that enables to take in the basic science to use as a basis to discuss what to do.
There was a Q&A session after your talk, and there was quite a back and forth and quite high engagement, I would say. What are your reflections after the questions from the Climate Assembly members?
I was positively surprised or positively affected, given the questions that were relevant. They sort of tied into the presentation, people had listened, but also the differences in the questions sort of informed me that people have different concerns, different question marks, different interests perhaps, probably reflecting where they are coming from and what they have learned and thought about climate change so far.
So you're coming in like a grey eminence, really, of climate research. Like, you're the one everyone's looking at. Where are we heading? And so where are we heading? And what data points and developments in the near future are you most concerned about and looking to see how they develop?
Well, global warming has already reached more than 1 degree centigrade. We might reach the 1.5 degree goal or level early in the 2030s. The global emissions of greenhouse gases have started to slow down. They are not increasing as much as they did before, but they are still increasing. And they will not, as it looks like, decrease so much to 2030 as would be needed by science to aim at the 1.5 degree goal directly. So we will be experiencing continued climate change, but also we have deviated from the worst scenarios that we discussed just a few years ago. So climate politics, climate solutions, people engaging with the climate change, it's starting to have an effect. But we will have some further climate change, we will have further climate impacts. And it's still very, very important to sort of speed up emission reductions and also work with adaptation.
And how do you get this out to the public? It's an old question, but maybe you have a new answer. You're one of the people doing it, getting it out to the public. How do we do it?
I think a lot of people already sort of know about climate change. There might be still a sort of bit distance to really understanding sort of intuitively what it means and why it's important. But also climate change is coming to our everyday life by means of solutions and discussions, of course. I mean, electric cars provides one way of reducing emission from road traffic, for example. More effective appliances, rules which provide more effective appliances, that's another example. Solar power, solar cells and so forth, which appear here and there. So it's not only about the issue as such, but also the solutions of the issue that are starting to show up in our everyday life.
And finally, this Climate Assembly, what do you think it can achieve and what do you think it can do?
I think it's a good experiment to see what the population, as an example of what the population as a whole thinks, how they have different ideas, how they might be providing to each other, and what the outcome comes, how have they changed what they think about climate change and what they are going to do after this exercise and before the exercise. And this kind of sort of how to involve, one cannot involve the 10 million Swedes one by one, but to sort of have a representative part of this big number, perhaps provide some lessons how people could be enabled to be part of the debate, be part of the solutions and so on.
Okay, thank you very much, Markku Rummukainen, professor at Lunds University. Thank you.